As you can see, Maddie Kramer got a great start.
Maddie's gonna fucking kill us.
I knew it from the get-go. He was gone. There was no catching him. I was hoping for a top 10, which I did get, but there wasn't as many riders show up. But you know, it was a fast dash for the single track here, and I wasn't aggressive on purpose. I didn't want to get in front of a couple riders and be the bottleneck. You know, I thought that if I stayed within the snake in the single track, that I would be in good shape. You know, I would let the riders in front of me make mistakes and then I'd be able to get by them. But essentially, the first two riders gone, and the snake basically just bottlenecked themselves. There was no passing, and it was tough. It was tough because, you know, to get acceleration in the mud, you couldn't get enough to get in front of a rider without them, you know, catching traction before you. You know, extremely muddy, extremely technical. As you can see here, this was in the first slow loop before the technical stuff actually started. Got water in my shoes right here. Raced the whole race with water sloshing around. It was cold. You know, there was a struggle.
Hell, fucking A.
So the course, not only was it technical, it was raining. I tried to hold these guys' wheel for a while. It did work until the weather really hit. At the Otter slide, you know, it was raining, but there was a temperature drop of about 10 degrees within minutes, and it started hailing and sleeting, and it was terrible. And I could not just, you know, no one could get traction. People were running, you know, hike a bike. It was, you know, every man for himself, essentially. You know, I tried to just, you know, kind of spin my way. You know, that everybody kept saying slow is fast, slow is fast. But slow can also be slow, which I demonstrated. At this point, with the temperature drop, then there was thunder, which you'll hear coming up.
Uh-oh. Oh, fuck me.
Now, you know, I know with sporting events, you know, thunder and lightning delays the activity. You know, so I was confused. I didn't know what was going on. I was like, are they going to direct us off the hill, you know, after the first short lap, or are they going to let us keep going? You know, I was confused as to what was going to happen. You know, I kind of let up because, you know, I didn't know what was happening. and I still had a few minutes, or a couple of miles to go, even after the thunder strike. But we actually just kept going, which, at this point in the race, I was already out of it. And I was, I was just going to be like, you know what, I'm having fun, I'm just going to do this. So my first lap was extremely, extremely slow, just because of the confusion with the heavy weather, with the sleet, with the thunder, and the heavy rain. I was kind of just let up and just rode at my own pace. Riders were falling down all over the place. I was lucky enough to keep rubber down the whole time. I made a few missteps. I bumped into a couple of trees and, slipped on some rocks and, did some, shin busting. But I didn't lay it down, which, I was really fortunate for, because, it was nasty. The rocks, they were not forgiving. And it was hard to build up enough speed to roll over them. Like you smack right into a rock and it stop you. And at this point here, this is the end of the first loop, which was a short loop. It didn't have the most technical section. And when I crossed the start-finish line, I saw what I thought was first place, Matty Kramer. I believe he was still in first place at the time, at the top of Otter Slide. So at that point, I was like, okay, well, I know I have a reference. So I timed the amount of time it took me to get to there, and I was about 17 minutes behind. So I lost 17 minutes to first place, just by, going slow, in that first loop. And I, so I was like, oh man, I really gotta push it now, because, I let up and not thinking that they were gonna pull us off the mountain. So I was able, to kind of push, and I only lost about 3 minutes off of him on that final, the final lap, which I was, happy for. I finished strong. After this, here, the video was awful. It covered in mud, everything. It was unwatchable. As I said, I finished strong. Again, I still lost 3 minutes on that final lap to first place. But, again, I don't know how things would have changed. It might not have been 20 minutes total if I didn't pull up early on, but dude, they were so fast, and I was riding like crap, but I was having fun. Never raced in that type of conditions before, and like, honestly, I would do it all over again. I would change my tactics a little differently. I wouldn't have worried about the, being the bottleneck at the beginning. For some reason, I don't know why I worried about it, but like my concern was getting out in front and making the mistake, and my mistake allowing first or second or the top riders ride ahead. I didn't want to be the one to make that mistake. But essentially being in the back, and we were still bottlenecking, and I wasn't able to pick up riders, and then the first riders ended up going anyways. So, yeah, but again, had fun, met some good people, and I can't wait for the next one.